Hello, welcome to our 11th and last lesson. This is the end of the year, and I understand and I guess you're keen to put an end to all of this. It has to be a torture for you, but I hope at some extent you have enjoyed. So our last lesson today, I hope you have enjoyed the previous video about the Enlightenment. And one of the key men of the Enlightenment was Immanuel Kant. Okay, you see him in the picture. He was a German philosopher, and he was born in what was called Prussia, and today the city of Kaliningrad in Russia. But he was German. Anyway, and Kant, like many other men of the Enlightenment, was related to some other thinkers of his time. For example, David Hume, the Scottish philosopher, he thanked him for taking away the blinders of his eyes. After reading Hume, Kant said he could see clearly and more openly some new, he was open to new and fresh ideas. And Jean-Jacques Rousseau, the French revolutionary, he observed him very closely. He put a close eye on the French Revolution, especially Rousseau, for his ideals and for the well-known concept of the will of the people. Okay, one of the mottos of Kant, and very well known indeed, is sapere aude, which means dare to know. You have to dare to know. What do you think he meant? All right, after 5 seconds that I gave you to think about it, dare to know is a very well-known phrase, which means you have to break free from the ties of dogmatism. You have to dare to know, you have to be brave, and you have to encourage yourself and embark yourself into the adventure of knowledge, into the ocean of the science, into the ocean of breaking fresh grounds. Okay, it is a new era, it's a new world. You have to get open to it. You have to put your 5 senses in reception to the new ideas of the new times, of the modern times, right? Sapere aude, dare to know. You have to dare to know. So it's up to you. Okay. One of the students of Kant took down some notes, and he gathered all together his notes in a text that he called Pedagogy, and it was published with the authorization of Immanuel Kant. Okay, and one of the key concepts also in Kant is the concept of emancipation. Okay, emancipation, we know that it regards to the age of majority, the legal age of majority in which you live home or you are legally independent from your parents. But in the Kantian way, emancipation is considered the cultural, social, and intellectual independence and autonomy. Okay, is when you gain autonomy. It has nothing to do with chronological age. It has to do with intellectual development of yourself. Okay, so man is born almost a beast and keeps himself that way until emancipation. For Kant, man was, let's say, before emancipation, was more related to the animals, to a real human being. Okay, so emancipation was a key concept. You have to work it out. You have to make an effort and a sacrifice to get the emancipation and to break free from, let's say, from the external powers that tell you what to do. In this text, he constantly compares the animals and human beings. And he says, for example, that animals may disregard, at some extent, feeding, warmth, and protection, right? Whereas human beings may not. Ever since you are born, you need these things. You need, you are fully dependent on somebody else to keep you warm, to keep you fed, and to provide you with protection. Okay, it's not that much in the animal kingdom, let's say. Okay, but however, uncivilized at birth, man is provided with reason. Animals are not. Okay, the only being in the world who is provided with reason is man. We are, let's say, we are not provided with instinct like animals, but in return we are provided with reason. We have to use the reason. We have to dare to know, right? Reason is very important because it allows transformation from bestiality or humanity or animality into humanity through education. And this is where education appears on stage. All right, so for Kant, education consists of discipline, restraint, which is the negative side, and instruction, which is related to culture and is the positive side of education. So education has two sides, one negative, one positive. The negative is the discipline, and the positive, the instruction. Kant considers the lack of discipline is worse than the lack of culture. Why? Because culture may be achieved late in life, okay? However, you are uncivilized, let's say for many years, there will come a point in which you can acquire civilization, you can acquire a culture, you can acquire good manners and good habits, and you can, let's say, enter into socialization. But it's not this way with barbarism. Barbarism is more dangerous because once it's in, once it's settled into the person, into your heart or your soul, it's unerasable. Okay, so we have to be very careful with that because it's very important that people get into education the sooner and the younger as it can be, right? So the sooner and the younger you get the person into education, the better for this person is. Otherwise, they could be, let's say, stuck into barbarism, and they will become more similar to animals than to human beings. So education is the one and only way to happiness or welfare. Education is the key. Education gets rid of that animality which we all are born. So by means of education, man turns himself disciplined, walking away from animality, cultivated because of the teachings and instructions he receives, civilized because he gets nice and good habits, plus he gets prudence and a good taste. Moralized, which means that he will not aim to the good ends for himself, but he will aim to the good ends for the people, or for all, good and noble ends. Again, comparison between man and animal. Man and animal alike can be trained, can be taught. You can see this in dogs, for example, or some other intelligent animals, like monkeys or dolphins. They can be trained, they can be taught, but the ultimate goal is that man becomes intellectually independent. The ultimate goal is that they can make their own decisions and they can take their own choices by themselves. Okay, not because they are told what to do, because their education makes them so autonomous that they can act by themselves, and they know through education what is good and what they have to do, and in that sense they will take the right actions. So their schools turns up on stage. So schools' role should be more instructive than educative, because it is intended to subordinate man to reason. So the man has to understand that we live in a society ruled by laws. All right, there is a system in which we all have to subordinate ourselves. This is the first teaching. And the good, after that, the good has to be chosen by self-determination and internal drive. Okay, is the educated way of a man to choose the right thing and the good and noble action. Okay. He says there are two educational periods. The first educational period is mechanical coercion to achieve submission to rules. Okay. We can talk, remember that we are in the 18th century. We may consider that he referred to some physical punishments and some other kind of psychological punishments. His aim was to subordinate the men to the rules, to the law. This is the first and most important teaching for him. But remember, we are in the 18th century. The second educational period is moral coercion to achieve fine and proper use of liberty. okay? It is not enough that you understand through physical punishment that you are subordinate to the laws, but it's also important that you understand and you learn how to use the liberty you are given, right? In that sense, he suggests that there has to be two kinds of educators. One is a mentor, which provides educative guidance and advice on moral and life matters. And the other one is teacher, as we know it today, who provides education in school subjects and curricular matters. All right. Okay, this video has come to the end. I will leave you there with the picture of Immanuel Kant so that you may remember his face and not mine. But remember that you have to read for the last activity Immanuel Kant, Pedagogy, and there is an additional text which is optional, written by Hegel, Pedagogic Writings, okay, which is very useful too, and very informative as well. And they both belong to the modern period, and through them you can get a picture or a better idea of what education consisted in the modern times. Okay, thank you very much. I'm not going to say farewell. I'm going to say see you later. And I would like to express my gratitude to all of you and to tell you at the same time that this has been a pleasure to work with each and every one of you. Okay. Remember, if you've got some doubts, you need some assistance, do not hesitate and text me or drop your questions in the queries box. See you later. Bye bye.